Jedi Survivor has a bunch of different gameplay mechanics and features, some of which you probably haven't seen before. Today I'm going to go over 10 things you might have missed in Jedi Survivor. Hopefully there'll be at least something on this list you didn't know about, and if you know about any rare gameplay features of Jedi Survivor, please let me know in the comments, and please subscribe and stick around. Thank you. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. Did you know that in Jedi Survivor you can actually see which difficulty you're playing on without having to go into the settings menu? The developers did something a little sneaky and added some very subtle, very small dots to the HUD to indicate which difficulty you're playing on. So if you've been watching me on YouTube, you would have noticed I've been for a long time playing on Jedi Padawan. The story mode difficulty is indicated by a dot in the top left of the HUD. Jedi Padawan is a dot at the top right. Jedi Knight is a dot in the bottom right. Jedi Master is a dot in the bottom left. And Jedi Grandmaster is the most obviously seen of all the difficulties with 2 dots, which are actually highlighted a different color to the rest of the HUD. So now there's no way to hide your difficulty. If you're playing the game, if people are making videos, the secret's out, we're gonna know what you're playing on. I think this is also a great feature if you keep dying and then realize, oh, that's right, I changed my difficulty just before, it's way too hard, I'm gonna bring it back down, which has happened to me several times while making videos. And it was actually the design director Jason DeHarris that pointed this out. He was likely one of the ones who implemented this into the game so that we can all know which difficulty we're playing on at any time we like. Did you know that the lights on your PS5 controller actually change color based on which lightsaber you're using in the game? I know this works on PS5, I'm not sure if it works on PC if you're using the PlayStation controller, but this is actually a returning feature from Jedi Fallen Order. The only difference is, on the PS4 controller, you can see the light a lot more clearly because of how much bigger the LED is on the controller. PS5 controller is a lot more subtle, you only get this ring of light around the touchpad. Some of the colors don't seem to match, but maybe that's just me, maybe I have a certain type of color blindness I don't actually know about. But it's awesome to see this feature returning from the previous game, and if you're playing in a dark room, makes the experience so much more immersive. Staying on lightsabers, just like in Jedi Fallen Order, each individual lightsaber color in Jedi Survivor actually has its own sound. And that doesn't only go for ignitions, but also slightly different hum sounds if you listen very closely. I also like that each color sounds like specific Jedi's lightsaber ignition sounds from Star Wars. For example, the green lightsaber sounds a lot like Luke's ignition, and the new white sabers sound kind of like Ahsoka's ignition. And I love that this just gives each saber a bit more personality, adding to the immersion. So if you're playing in a dark room with your controller and also listening to the sounds your lightsabers make, you can have the ultimate immersive Jedi Survivor experience. One of the new features in Jedi Survivor is the ability to ride mounts, certain creatures you'll find throughout the worlds of the game. But did you know you can actually pet these mounts when riding them? The only 2 features I found so far that you can pet are the Neko and the Spammel, which you can interact with while riding by pressing either the R1 or right bumper button, depending on which console you're playing on. By pressing this button, the creature will beckon its neck towards Cal, at which point he can give it a little friendly rub around the neck, and you'll also hear a few different lines of dialogue each time you do this.
Good, Spammel.
I guess you could say this is similar to how you can pet the Boglings in the game. That's done by usually pressing the R3 button on PS5. But next time you're riding around on one of these, make sure you give it a good pet. Say hi for me. That'd be really nice. Now, Flame Troopers in Jedi Survivor have returned from Jedi Fallen Order, and just like in the previous game, if you use a force push against the Flame Troopers while they're using their flamethrower, the pack on their back will catch fire and they'll explode. But did you know there's actually another way of triggering this? By using Cal's new Slam attack, which I believe is R1 and X on the PS5, right bumper and B on Xbox, you can slam these guys into the ground, causing their jetpack to also catch fire and explode. This can be great when they're in a group of enemies, as you can use this tactic to make their backpack explode and hopefully kill or damage other enemies that they're near. Once you progress to a certain point in Jedi Survivor, you can finally go back to Coruscant, but there's actually a specific reason as to why you're able to do this. Coruscant is an Imperial-controlled world. The Empire is everywhere. It's literally the center of the Empire, the center of the galaxy, Palpatine's home, if you will. And the only reason you're able to go back here after completing the prologue of the game is something Cal actually makes reference to. When you first unlock the ability to go to Coruscant, Cal comments on this, saying we can go here now that we have Merrin with us.
Now that Merrin's with us, we can go back to Coruscant.
But what could Merrin have to do with going to Coruscant? Well, don't forget, she actually cloaks the Stinger Mantis using her magic, meaning that the only way you're able to go back to Coruscant and avoid Imperial detection is because Merrin cloaks your ship upon entering the atmosphere and coming out of light speed. Merrin coming in handy once again. Lightsaber customization in Jedi Survivor has been taken to a whole nother level since Jedi Fallen Order, and there's something very specific you can do with your lightsaber that really distinguishes this game from the first. First of all, the crossguard stance is entirely new, and the fact you can have a crossguard on your lightsaber is similar to Kylo Ren or a lot of High Republic characters. But did you know you can actually change the direction of the vents of the crossguard? When in the customization menu and hovering over the vents, if you press square on PS5 or X on Xbox, you have the ability to change the angle of the vents. This is something I honestly never thought we'd be able to do in the game, even after learning there was going to be a crossguard stance, and it's honestly something that just makes your lightsaber feel so much more personal and unique to you. Now, in addition to these slightly hidden customization options for your lightsaber, your blaster also has an attachment you can toggle on and off. When customizing the barrel of your blaster, each different barrel has a special attachment you can add by either pressing square on PS5 or X on Xbox. Some of these add a scope to the blaster, for example the DL44, while others add external attachments which feature wires and additional parts. All of this is simply cosmetic, none of it affects actual gameplay. You're not actually able to aim down sights using the scope on these blasters, but at least it enables you to make your weapon feel and look exactly how you want it to look, and be more personal to your preference. Whether you want the big chunky scope on the side, or you like a clean blaster look. This also obviously rolls over into cutscenes anytime you see Cal using the blaster or any cosmetic. That's exactly how it's going to look at every moment in the game. Do you sometimes wish combat or platforming was a bit slower, or just want to have more fun playing around with certain enemies? Jedi Survivor actually has a slow mode, which you can toggle on and off in the accessibility menu, which basically allows you to play the game in slow motion at certain points when you're facing enemies or performing platforming puzzles. I honestly found this great when combined with the camera tool. If I was trying to get a really cool shot of Cal in Jedi Survivor fighting a certain enemy, it was easier doing that with the slow mode, but also just learning how to time certain parries and learning the attacks of enemies. There were definitely some platforming sections which I feel I could have used the slow mode. That said, it does also make you feel a bit sluggish, so when toggling between normal and slow mode, it does take a bit of getting used to the new timing. You can also modify the timing of the slow mode, how slow you want it to be, and can also toggle it on and off using the shortcut controls. If you go into accessibility, you have the option to turn shortcut controls on or off. By turning this on PS5, which is what I've been playing on, the touchpad here is no longer used for the map, but instead brings up the shortcut menu, from which you can map one of the buttons on here to the holo map. But what I really found this useful for was the photo tool. It was really bothering me that to use the photo tool in Jedi Survivor, you first had to pause the game and then load up the tool. Whereas now, using the shortcut menu, which I just discovered, all I have to do mid-combat or mid-animation is quickly press the touchpad and the button I've assigned the camera tool to, and there you go, the game freezes and I can manipulate the camera however I like. So useful for capturing specific shots right in the moment, and something I wish I'd learned about as soon as I started playing the game. So what do you think you know about Jedi Survivor that most people don't? Let me know in the comments, and also come follow me on Instagram, Twitter, join my Discord and TikTok. I'm giving away a few more copies of the game if you want to try and win. And for a guide on which lightsaber stance is best for you in Jedi Survivor, I'd recommend you watch this video here. Thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.